Out of authority flows power, the Greek word dunamos, from which we get the word dynamite. So power is legitimate if it is used within the context of legitimate authority. We talk, and the word that I like to use to describe legitimate power is force. Police force, military force. When power is legitimately applied, that is, within the context of lawful authority, then we say that that is a use of force. There is such thing as the unlawful use of force, and that's what I like to call violence. Violence is the illegitimate application of dunamos. When a police officer has the authority and the power to enforce the law, he uses force in force. It's part of that root word. But when a police officer exceeds the limits of his lawful authority, when he applies power illegitimately, then that police officer is doing violence. When somebody without authority tries to coerce you to do something, give me all your money, that's violence. Because in that context, I don't have the authority, the legitimacy to demand of Jacob that he give me his money. Doing so, requiring of him that he give me something that is not mine, and doing so under threat of death or great bodily injury, that's violence. That's not authorized. That's illegitimate. Make sense? Okay? So, within the police organization, we have lawful authority to exercise power within limits. That's true of government in general. That's true specifically of police power, police authority. And so in that context, police officers enforce the law using the amount of power that flows legitimately from their basis of authority, which ultimately comes from we the people, which we describe and articulate in the document we call the Constitution. So the principles of authority are outlined in a constitution. The problem that we are experiencing today is that at least an accusation that police officers are acting outside the scope of their authority, that they are using power illegitimately, that they are doing violence to the community that they serve. So our question is to examine whether or to what extent, if any, that there is a widespread problem. There probably are isolated incidents of individual officers who, for whatever reason, exceed the limits of their authority. But do we have a systemic problem? Do we have a problem in law enforcement in America where there is a mentality amongst the cops that we have some kind of right to hurt people without some due process, without justification? Do we have some sense of entitlement that as police officers we can put the hurt on people to make them behave? I don't get the sense that there is that problem, but there are people who do. There are people with whom I have this discussion frequently that will hold fast to the supposition that widespread in America is this attitude among cops that they can operate with impunity, that they can do pretty much whatever they want to do to the community that they serve.